The first person up is Dave Bullock from WAG, and he'll be talking about logs for dogs. Thanks,
All right,
Dave.
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, guys. I'm Dave Bullock. I'm a director of engineering at WAG. I'm going to talk about our journey from kind of logs everywhere in a kind of a messy situation into where we are today. So first of all, a little bit about WAG. So WAG is an on-demand dog walking platform. We do sitting, boarding, of course walking. We're in 43 states in over 100 cities. But basically our main goal is to bring happiness to pets and their parents. So we're growing like crazy. I have a ton of open seats right now to hire. So if you know anyone who's looking for an engineering role, let me know. We love dogs and dog walking. This is where I would show a commercial, which you might have seen, but the embedding's not working, so just imagine this played a video right here. So 6 months ago, when I came to WAG, or about 7 months ago, we were we had kind of a tough situation. So we basically had logs in hundreds of places, right? So no single cohesive place to view our logs, to search, analyze, and alert on our logs. So it wasn't a great situation. They were literally everywhere, like tons of different platforms on servers, no central place. So that was a problem, right? So it causes a bunch of issues. We had difficulty tracking down production issues. We had a lack of visibility into what our systems were doing. It was hard to detect anomalies and outliers. Our alerting was not great, and we just didn't have a global place to search all of our logs. And let's talk about where we are today. So we now have a single pane of glass view of all of our infrastructure and systems. So we're able to see system performance, our logs, both system logs, application logs, security, our AWS metrics. Basically all of the things are in one place, which is really great. So how did we get there? It's a long journey. So we basically automated the whole thing. So we built out our whole infrastructure using Terraform. We run full CI/CD for both our application and our infrastructure with GitLab. We baked in logging in that process, that infrastructure automation with Sumo Logic. We package and deploy our application with Ansible and Packer. And we do like a blue-green deployment, canary deploy with ECS, Route53, and HA proxy. And everything auto-scales. So we hit all the AWS well-architected 5 pillars there. So let's kind of do a deeper dive. So Terraform. Terraform is simple, powerful, elegant language from HashiCorp, or system from HashiCorp that lets you basically automate all the things. So safely and predictably create, change, and improve your infrastructure. It's open source infrastructure as code. It's declarative. So you basically say, I want these things, and Terraform makes it happen. It follows the full software development lifecycle for your infrastructure. So code reviews, branching, staging, testing, and deployment. No more clicking around in the AWS console to create infrastructure. Here's a little bit of one of our Terraform modules. This embeds the Lambda function, deploys the Lambda function for pulling in logs to Sumo. We use GitLab, as I mentioned, to basically automate all the things. So we automate testing and deploying both our application and our infrastructure with GitLab. We follow the Git flow. So we cut a branch, test it, merge it, develop, deploy that to staging, and then finally deploy it to production. Fully automated staging, automated testing of both the infrastructure and application. Full change control, so we're alerted on Slack when things are going to change. And one-click deployment, so you basically, when you're ready to go, you can click a button and deploy pieces of our infrastructure. Here's one of our pipelines. Validate, check security changes, pull the application, stage all the infrastructure, test that staged infrastructure by testing both the blue and the green deployments and the main deployment. Then review, so if any changes happen, it pings us in Slack with a link to look at the change plan, and then click a button to deploy your changes. We use Sumo Logic everywhere. So we ingest all of our logs into CloudWatch first from ECS. We consume CloudWatch logs with the Lambda function. We've actually modified the Lambda function a little bit for VPC logging. We only send VPC flow logs that are from IPs outside of our CIDR blocks to Sumo Logic. I think we're working with Sumo to open source that code change. And it's all baked into Terraform, which I showed you earlier. We use Ansible and Packer to build our base image every night. So we have a freshly built either AMI or Docker image, push it up to ECR, Then GitLab pulls that image, loads it in our app, and pushes it into staging and then production. Terraform then pulls that image from ops and pushes it into our cold ECR for deployments. We do blue-green and canary deployments, so we can quickly switch between our active and our inactive clusters. We're able to test features in production before sending user traffic, or we can send a small amount of traffic to the new functionality and see if there's errors. So it's very quick and clean to roll back if there are any problems, which sometimes there's problems. So it looks like this. So basically, we have we added a layer of HA proxy, only doing one thing, basically checking Route 53 internally every 5 seconds to see if the target group has changed, and if it's changed, then we start sending traffic to the other cluster. So at some point, ALBs will support having a CNAME as a target, and then we won't have to do this layer of HA proxy. But for now, HA proxy is sitting there doing its thing. Everything auto-scales. So our cluster scales up and down both the tasks and the cluster instances. We have a very like bell curve usage pattern. People don't want their dogs walked at night. So basically, like at night, our whole thing scales down, saves us a ton of money. It looks like this when it actually happens. So you can see like active cluster. You can see a deployment, blue-green deployment happens, and then at night scales down, scales back up. Weekend it scales down even further. So just to kind of summarize everything, you want to do the right thing when you're doing a big change like this. So building a scalable, stable, cost-effective, secure platform isn't easy, but it's definitely worth it. If I give you 3 takeaways, make sure everything is as code. Never manually deploy anything. Make sure you automate everything. It makes your life so much easier. And log everything. If it creates a log, get it in some place. Sumo Logic is a great place for that. And that's it. So thank you very much. Once again, I'm hiring like crazy. So please reach out if you're looking or if you know anyone who is. So questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing a very similar thing with Terraform and Ansible and build pipelines. I'm curious, you said you've been there 6 to 7 months. How long did it take you to rebuild out your whole system using Terraform, and how large is your team?
So it took me about 4 months. We've kind of we switched over the API about a month ago. Switched over the workers this week, so we're fully deployed now. It took about 4 months. It was mostly me and some help from our junior DevOps folks, but it was a lot. Definitely a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it.
Do you use open source Ansible, or do you go to Red Hat for any advanced
We use
management?
Ubuntu, so everything's open source. Yeah.
Anyone else with questions? Great. Here we go. One more.
How do you handle canary deploy, and how does Sumo Logic factor into that process?
So when we're releasing a risky change, we'll deploy to 1% and monitor it in Sumo Logic. So looking for errors, any kind of outliers, any spikes, and we can search in Sumo Logic by which cluster is active, and then so for the canary deploy, we'll look at that 1% cluster and see if we see any errors.
Yeah. So is there any part of that? Is the log analysis automated, or is that?
So far, it's manual, but that's like our on the roadmap is to have automatic rollback if we see an error spike.
Are you in multiple AWS regions?
We're in one region right now, but everything's multi-AZ, so it's all highly available. Okay, thanks everyone.
Let's all give Dave a hand here.